welcome to HawkTalk. Happy New Year to everyone, and thanks for joining us again for the 2018 year. We'll hop right into things with Coach Schlecht. For a lot of people who haven't seen you guys wrestle yet, if they didn't make it to the open practice, what does the team look like this year, and what have you seen early?
We've had one event so far. We just got back from Hastings, Nebraska at the Hastings Custis Open. Going in, we knew we're young. One senior, one junior, and a lot of sophomores and a lot of freshmen. A lot of our sophomores have, experience, whether it be varsity experience or match experience. But, a good group of kids, hardworking kids, dedicated kids, very coachable kids, guys that want to make adjustments day to day, moment to moment in the practice room. And good workers. So that's something that's hard to find, and they're an exciting group, a really exciting group, and dedicated. So a good group of kids. The tournament went well, I think.
Yeah, and you mentioned a really young group. How important is it for, like you said, some of those sophomores that have had other experiences, whether it be in high school or even at another school, coming here, and how do they have to step into a leadership role early in their career?
Yeah, I think we've got a good group of leaders with our two older guys, Zook and Devin, and we also have some good leaders in our sophomore class with Payson and Gresh, and really overall, the guys aren't afraid to turn to each other, and it doesn't have to be one of the said leaders or one of the guys that are acting as leaders. They're doing a good job of turning to anybody that they think can answer the question or help guide them. And the coaching staff is, myself and the rest of the coaching staff is recognizing that, and we're kind of letting them, find their way, and they're doing a great job of it. So, and those sophomores are doing a good job of, pushing each other and pushing the rest of the guys and holding them accountable. We've been talking about accountability a lot in the group, and they're doing a great job of that accountability factor in the practice room, on the competition in our first one, and in the lifting and the running and the weight management and all those things. So accountability has been great with them.
Yeah, you mentioned you've only had one event, and so that means you practice all fall, and you do something a little different, correct? Where you wrestle just in the swing.
Yeah.
To talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so our schedule, fourth year of it, maybe even the fifth year of it. I'm losing track. Where we don't compete until January, and so we're getting ready. We're taking our time, developing our strength, developing our conditioning, working hard at those things, taking our time with our techniques so that when we do compete, we're ready to roll. It helps with our academics. It helps with our technique. It helps with our weight management. It helps with our burnout factor. The guys right now are really excited to go. Yeah. And a lot of the guys that we were competing against, you could see it, whether it be in their eyes or you could see it when they're wrestling on the mat, other guys from other teams. They've been going since November, and some of them have got a lot more matches in, but they're kind of starting to feel they're ready. They want March to be here a lot sooner than we do, and we're ready to. We're excited. Our guys are excited about it, and they're excited to keep getting better. They're excited after the weekend. You could tell on Monday they were excited to come in and make adjustments and get better. So the schedule is a great move for us, and something we see coming in the future. We see the NCAA move into something, and there's lots of talks about that. So,
yeah. Great. Yeah, with that, jam-packing an entire season and 2.5 months, how important is it for the team to take advantage of each duel, each tournament out there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. At the same time, we got to manage, our pace, and we got to manage our injuries, and those things are important. And getting banged up and those kind of things, and managing that can get tricky. But that's my job, I guess, fortunately and unfortunately. But most important part of that, though, too, is that the guys do recognize that it is important to take advantage of every opportunity, and that's something we preach all the time anyways, is you have a short amount of time. If they think 4 years in their college career is going to be this great long expenditure, it's going to go by quick, and before long those opportunities will be gone, and they'll be wishing they could go back in time and take advantage of them. So that's something that we get to do a good job of taking advantage of them.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, went down to Hastings. first showing for a lot of these guys. You had 3 on the podium. Talk about, Payson's performance, Devin and Gresh.
Yeah, for most of those guys, probably just under half of them, that was their first college match ever in the first round. I mean, first time with a ref in stripes, calling college rules instead of high school rules for, just shy of half of them. So, and even some of our sophomores, like our redshirt freshmen, still for most of those, that was like maybe match 5. Yeah. That's huge. And we wrestled well. I would say as a group, one of the most important things is we wrestled for 7 minutes. And win, lose, draw in a battle, owning the match, didn't matter. We were putting full maximum effort out for the 7 minutes, and that's key. That's really important. That's something that's hard to coach and get across to them. And usually that's something we start to see in older guys, and juniors and seniors start wrestling that way, and our younger guys are wrestling that way, and that's awesome. Payson wrestled well. I think that he's really come into himself. He's found some strength. He's did a good job this offseason of getting stronger and being a little fuller 197-pounder. So he's doing a great job, and he wrestled well, made some adjustments, I think it was his second match he got into, he was down by a couple and made some mid-match adjustments and ended up coming back and making those adjustments in the match and pinning the kid because he had the ability to maturely make those adjustments in the middle. It's not like basketball and football where you get halftime to make those adjustments. You have to make those adjustments, walking back to the center of the mat, and he did a great job with that. Devin wrestled well. Devin's an older guy and a non-traditional guy kind of on, as far as a college student athlete goes, but he's maturing on the mat. We say Devin's a very mature guy already, but he's maturing on the mat and being patient, and he did a good job of being patient in some of his stuff. And Gresh had a good day too, ran into a bear, second match, the Air Force kid, we found ourselves behind early and battled all the way back, gave ourselves a fighting chance right down to the last, 8-second go, and we're looking for opportunities. And some guys might get frustrated with that match, losing that match, but we took it as a learning opportunity, and he made some adjustments from that match in his next match, and it showed. And he had a great third, fourth match, a similar situation. Caught him, found himself behind by 6, in the first 40 seconds, and battled all the way back, and beats the kid and has riding time on top of it. So he wrestled a great tournament and did a good job of making adjustments on this fly.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, you had a couple guys lose matches early, but kind of battle through that consolation side of things. What does that say to all the work they put in the fall?
Yeah, and that comes down to them doing a good job of adjusting to adversity. And things aren't always going to be perfect, and things aren't always, you're not going to get the best spot in the bracket. You're not going to get those good things, and we've talked, how consolation champs are probably the toughest guy in the bracket. The guy who wins, the 2 guys in the finals are either talented or got lucky on the bracket. The guy who gets third had to take a loss and then turn around and keep fighting. And like guys like Tanner Stone, Dirk Wolf did those kind of things. Those young guys did that. Glenn Anderson did a good job of that. Our young Brandon Clay did that at 41 and did a good job of taking their licks, and found themselves losing a match, but then fighting all the way back. Some of those guys lost in those first round matches to guys that ended up being in the finals, and then lost their next match to the guy who was third. So we're not losing to the guys that are out of the tournament. We're losing to guys that are in the top, and I think they're seeing that.
Right. And then before we jump into this weekend's matchups, how nice is it to not go on a 12-hour bus ride and be able to stay at home?
Yeah. The funny thing about that though is like we're so used to being on the road. Like sometimes staying at home is kind of, it has its benefits definitely, but then you're setting everything up and you're prepping at home, and there's definitely benefits of it, but there's also a routine for us on the bus. There's that routine of getting on the bus and cruising for 6-8 hours and getting a practice in on the road, and that's our routine, and then getting there and checking into the hotel, and you know what you're going to eat for fuel, and you know what you're going to do for sleep, and you know what you're going to do for making weight and prepping mentally when you're on the road. Then all of a sudden you stay at home for the few times, Sometimes it can be tricky, so it'll be a good opportunity for the guys that stayed home. We want to give our fans, obviously, as much chance to come and watch us as possible, but at the same time, it can throw a kink in it. We'll see how they respond. I think they'll do great, and they're excited to be at home, but there's a difference, too.
Yeah. Starts with 2 duels this Friday.
Yep.
First one at 5 against MSU Northern, always a good opponent, and then 7 against Minot. What are we going to see from those squads?
Yeah, Northern's got a great group. They always have a great group, and there will be some battles in there. There'll be some matchups in there. I know they've got a couple guys that are out, and they've got a couple holes, but I'm sure he'll fill those and stuff like that. And it'll be a good test. With this young group, duels are very different than a tournament, and it's a very different atmosphere, and it's a very different way to prepare and prep yourself. So the atmosphere from the crowd can play a factor in all those kind of things, especially for young wrestlers like we have. In the Minot, it's got a good group there, year in, year out, very competitive and stuff like that, and so that'll be some good matchups for us as well. We're excited for both of them, really, and I think the guys are too.
Yeah, definitely get that action there, then turn right around next morning and starting the Tyler Plummer at 9.
At 9, yeah, and that's a great tournament. It's a good tournament. I've been working really hard on building it and getting some new schools. We have a new school coming, Morningside, Iowa will be here this year. This is the first year they've come up to the tournament. We've got them coming. They'll bring their team. Jamestown will bring theirs. University of Providence, or formerly Great Falls. Montana Northern will be there. Obviously, University of Jamestown, I think that we got about 5-6 full teams that'll be there, and then we'll have our usual 5-6 teams that'll bring 3, 4 to 5 different red shirts unattached, or different guys like that, guys that want to wrestle locally and stuff. So we're expecting a slight increase in the tournament numbers, so probably in that 16-man bracket for the most part, maybe a few 8s, but it'll be right out of the gate. It'll be some good, tough competition because the teams that are there are rock solid.
Yeah, and get the chance to go after that belt buckle. That always seems like a special thing each year.
Yeah, the Tyler was a great individual to our program and those kind of things, so it's something we want to continue to do, and so we get an individual that donates the funds to purchase that award, so the champs get a Tyler Plummer buckle. It's a belt buckle, and as far as I'm aware, it's about the only tournament that you can actually win a belt buckle, at a wrestling tournament. I know several of the schools come every year and they talk about how that's a really cool thing, and they get excited about that. It is, and it's important to us too to keep that up for Tyler's sake and for his memory and the great things he did for DSU wrestling.
Yeah, and then moving forward deeper in the year, you got another 2 home duels, 24th against Providence, 30th against Jamestown. For anyone thinking about coming up to this weekend's duels or those duels, what would be your ploy to get them out there?
I feel like I'm being a broken record. It's a young group, but they're a very exciting group. And like I said, when you got guys wrestling for 7 minutes and throwing themselves out there, whether they're up by 6 and they're still going hard and chasing more points, or they're, down by 10 and they're still trying to score points, that makes for exciting wrestling. And they're good kids. They're good dudes. They're hardworking kids, and they're passionate about the sport, and they're passionate about DSU wrestling. When you have those things come together, it makes for exciting and exciting times and exciting stuff to watch. And these are guys that I feel pretty good about. They've got a bright future, and it's going to be exciting in a couple of years when these guys have, it's exciting right now. What's it going to be like in a couple of years when these guys are, have a lot more experience, and they're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, they're more technical, and they're confident. So.
Yeah. Well, Coach, thank you for coming on. We look forward to it this weekend. 5 o'clock starts Friday night's activities, and then 9 o'clock Saturday morning for the Tyler Plummer. Make sure you find your way out there.
Show up early, you might score a T-shirt.
There you go. Well, yeah.
So make sure you show up.
Exactly. Pack the stands there at Scott Gym and in Weenbergen. We'll be back with one of Coach Schleck's athletes. Welcome back to Hawk Talk for our Blue Feather focus. The Blue Feather Athletic Association, the funding body of the DSU Heritage Foundation, raising funds for student athletes to come from all over the globe, but one not too far away, coming from right across the border in Montana. Go ahead and introduce yourself and where you come from.
I'm Gresh Jones. I'm from Sydney, Montana, and I'm a redshirt sophomore for the DSU wrestling program.
Yeah, and DSU wasn't your first stop on the trip to college. You took a journey to the University of Minnesota and wrestled for their program last year. What was that choice like, going to a D1 program like that?
It was kind of my dream always to go as high as I could get, kind of. And Minnesota, I had a lot of connections with the coaches there, so I made the choice to go there for that first year and semester. And then I started off there, and then they dropped my phys ed program that I was in, so I was taking kinesiology, which was a lot tougher. So I decided to make the switch back to Dickinson, which was close to home. Have a lot of my friends here, my brothers go here, so I got a lot of ties here. And met Coach Schlecht right away, and I immediately knew it was going to be a good fit. So made the move at Christmas time. So last year at this point right now, I was just finishing my first college tournament for DSU, and so it's a good time of year.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, knowing a lot of people that are here and we're here, how nice is it to come into a community that you're almost familiar with already?
It's really nice. Like everyone, I didn't know a lot of people on the team, but I knew a few, so that was super nice coming in. Everybody at DSU is so nice, and I mean the environment here is really cool. It's like everybody knows everybody, but everybody's like, you still go around campus and you don't know everybody, and you see new faces every day still, but it's good.
Yeah, definitely. And, I'm sure you learned some lessons, not only wrestling there, but just being in that environment at Minnesota and kind of the culture there. And, coming into DSU already as a sophomore, you're kind of one of the elder people because of how young the team is. How are you stepping into kind of a leadership role with that?
Yeah, I mean, we're super young this year, which is crazy, with only like 2 seniors on the team. So that calls for some of us sophomores. We got to step up and take part in the leadership role, show the freshmen that just to work hard and be dedicated. I mean, don't do some of the stupid things, get your schoolwork done. And I mean, if they need help, we have, like the Alabama game last night, we had a bunch of the guys come over and watch that at my place, just a little team bonding thing to get them out of the house, stop thinking about their weight and everything. So that was nice.
Yeah, probably not a lot of food there, but regardless.
A lot of talking.
Yeah.
Take your mind off it.
And that's a big thing with wrestling, keeping healthy, doing that. You had some struggles with injuries last year, but how are you feeling coming into this season?
I'm super healthy right now. I feel really good, and I'm excited to keep wrestling. I hope I can make every single tournament this year, and because last year I didn't get to wrestle in the Plumber or the 2 home duels, so it's pretty disappointing I didn't get to show the crowd and the home fans what I can do on the mat. So I'm excited to do that this Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned going watching a football game, doing whatever you do on the bus rides. What's the team camaraderie like on those trips?
It's fun. We're a bunch of the guys are out there. They're characters, so it's pretty funny times. But when it gets down to wrestling, we're pretty serious and we get after it. So.
And you had a pretty good showing at Hastings down there, taking 3rd, which included 2 falls and a tech fall as well. How did you feel your performance was?
I felt good. I mean, I came out really tough my first match, and then I ran into a kid who ended up winning it the second match. I got caught right early, so I was down 6-0, and I battled back, and the kid just kind of held me off, but ended up losing by a couple points there. But I battled back, won 4 matches in a row, and then my 3rd place match, same situation. I got caught like first 30, 45 seconds, down 6-0. Had a battle back, ended up winning 12-10, but it was a really nice match because I finally I broke the guy kind of like just my pace. In practice, I felt like I'm really good conditioning, and I know if I just keep going hard for 7 minutes like Coach says, I can break people, and it finally showed, and it was a really good feeling.
Yeah, and we talked about it with Coach just a little bit ago, kind of that battling through adversity of falling early and then going back to the consolation side of things. What's the mindset once you're in that side?
Oh yeah, I mean, that's what's nice about it, because I look at it like, I can battle back and I'm gonna be the toughest guy in this bracket. Other guys, some guys, they lose first round, second round, they're like, who cares if I win these next couple matches? I'll have to get out. Where I'm trying to win the whole thing, win that consolation side, be the toughest guy there. So.
Yeah, we also talked to Coach about kind of being at home finally. Do you have the same mindset? Would you rather be on a bus, or would you?
I mean, it really doesn't matter, but it is nice sleeping in your own bed. Yeah. It is nice sleeping in your own bed, so I'm looking forward to that. Waking up in my own bed and then going to the tournament, that'll be nice.
Yeah, definitely. Ask Coach the same question. What would you get? What would you tell someone who's on the fence of coming out Friday night?
Come out. We're a super young team. There's gonna be a lot of fireworks. We got a lot of guys that like to do big moves and make the fans go a little crazy. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, and maybe get a shirt if you come early enough. But
come early enough, you might get a few shirts. Yeah.
Kind of since it's early in the year, looking forward, do you have any personal goals, team goals, moving on?
We want to be a placing team when it comes time. Get as much guys as we can to nationals, get as much as we can to the regional tournament, and I want to be top of that podium. I mean, Coach talks about it every day. He says NC, Natty Champ, so it's starting to stick in my mind, and that's all I'm thinking about.
Yeah, and do you see kind of that mindset built through the entire fall, going through the lock-in, going through all those workouts? Does it start then?
Oh yeah, it starts right away. I mean, going through such tough practices and that lock-in with everybody and having Coach yell all that stuff at you, letting you know every day that you can be at the top, our team can be at the top, is a great feeling, and makes me believe it and makes the team believe it too. So.
Yeah, with that said, kind of going into Hastings, was everyone tired of beating each other up and ready to see some new?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, it gets pretty chippy in the room wrestling some of the guys every once in a while, because it gets pretty. We're fighting for spots. We got a lot of guys, so everybody's fighting for a spot, and it was nice to beat up on some guys that weren't our own wrestlers. So.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for coming on, Gresh.
Yep,
we'll be sure to keep up with you throughout the year. Come out, show up at 4:30 on Friday, whatever, get your shirt, and then 9 o'clock Saturday morning for the Tyler Plummer. We hope to see you there. Keep up on dsubluehawks.com for all of that. Seth and I will be back in a moment, kind of putting a recap on the winter break and what that had for basketball in store.
Life is full of many successes, achievements, stages. Every year we grow, things change, and pretty soon we realize we want and need to do more. When you're ready for that next step, Dickinson State University will get you there. Find out how at dsublu.com.
Welcome back to Hawk Talk. We're going to be putting a bow on that winter break. Basketball had a couple games. They went on the road first to take on Frontier teams. Always a tough matchup. You're familiar with the Frontier. How tough are those games?
The Frontier, man. I mean, in football, that's always kind of the team, the region that we look to, or in the past, it's the region that we've kind of looked to and said, these are the Frontier. But we're getting away from that. But it's still, they're always a challenge. They got a good, solid programs on all of their levels. My brother played at Rocky, and so I know the talent that they have in that region. It's really great.
Yeah, definitely, and that's playing up for Dickinson State. Technically, we're D2 basketball, and Frontier's D1. So getting some good games in there though, but then got to come back, take on Dakota State. Guys got a big conference win that moves them to 5-1 in the conference. Top of the North Star. What have you seen from their team so far this year?
Man, I love the team. They got. I think the biggest thing is just how well they work together. Maybe in the past, it's kind of been a few guys here and there, but I think over the, since October, November, December, and now into January, they're really playing together. They're really clicking, and guys are really coming into their role, whether it's 5 minutes they're playing a game or they're playing the whole game. They're really, finding their groove.
Right, and I think they're starting to play well at the right time here in the middle of the conference schedule, especially now that they're going to be on the road a lot coming up January, February. We won't see them back in Dickinson until the 28th. You've been on the road with football before, but have you ever had like 2 months worth of no home games?
No home. That's never happened to me, and I kind of feel for those guys. But I think, it'll be good for them. It'll be a good test to go on the road and to, learn how they play, learn how they travel, learn how, just to exist with each other and kind of build that camaraderie like we were talking about with the wrestlers on that bus ride.
Yeah, definitely, and hopefully they keep winning, and then they don't have to go on the road in the playoffs. Get to stay here, give some more Scott Gym games. new year for you, new year for all of us, I should say.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, you as well. Anything you're looking forward to this semester or even forward?
Moving in with football, man, I'm excited for just, it's my senior season coming up, just to step into a leadership role. I've always tried to be a leader, but to, be that senior and be a vocal leader, be, a quiet leader here and there, whatever it's going to take. Whether, we got the first 8 weeks, we're in the weight room 4 mornings out of the 5, and it's going to be a grind, it's going to be a grind. But then we get spring ball, then we get football, the summer workouts, and we're back right into fall, and I'm looking forward to the excitement that's in the air.
Yeah, absolutely. It dawned on me, first day of classes, we're filming this on Tuesday, it dawned on me this morning that this is my last semester, and I got a little frightened. And so, yeah, same thing, just getting ready for that last semester of golf, charge into that and have some fun with the guys. Lots coming up this semester, basketball as they go down the home stretch here. Some big games coming up. Make sure you check out dsubluehawks.com for that. And then defending champions indoor track and field on the track next weekend already as well. And then basically 2 months they're outdoors. And then baseball and softball are right around the corner as well. And golf, yep. Lots happening. Make sure you keep up with it all at dsubluehawks.com. If you've missed any of the Hawk Talks, you can find them there as well. And then we'll see you next week, hopefully talking a little indoor track. Until next time, Hawks are up.